Hey guys, it's Tim Shermack, and welcome back to another episode of the Platform Marketing Show. I'm joined today by Britney Hastings in East Orlando, Florida. Britney, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
So, this is going to be a little bit different of a platform podcast conversation. Obviously everyone's across the board. Usually when we have these conversations, with agents in the platform marketing program, sometimes someone has been with platform for a year, sometimes they've been with us for 18 months, sometimes 2.5 years, whatever. Uh, Brittany has actually been in the platform marketing program for like less than 2 months when we're recording this. So she signed up in the last basically 60 days. And so
Yes.
she is still like a brand new platform client, hasn't done the vast majority of the typical ads that we do with our client. Like, she's only been in the program for 2 months. And the reason I wanted to have her on the show this early and have a conversation with her is because of just the wins she has already had in her first 2 months working with platform. So, Brittany, the first question I want to ask you is how did you hear about platform?
So I heard through Facebook, social media, I saw the ads and I actually heard about platform marketing. I think it was about 2 years ago. And I actually did a
Okay.
call with Diana, and I just wasn't ready in my business yet. I wasn't ready in my life to take that commitment. And when I do commit to something, I give it my all. And I knew at that moment I couldn't. So then I pretty much got my systems in place. I'm rocking and rolling in my business. And it
Yeah.
came back through on Facebook. And I was like, okay. And I don't know. I just felt like it was right. And then, yeah, here we are.
So it was did you say 2 years ago?
It was
It was the
about,
first
yeah,
time?
I believe so. So I was about 2 years in my real
Okay.
estate career.
So obviously you saw a platform for the first time a long time ago. You
Yes.
didn't feel like you were ready. It didn't make sense at the
Hmm.
time. But we stayed top of mind, I'm assuming, because you kept seeing our
Yes,
retargeting ads and you probably kept seeing
I did.
our client wins and case study. And I mean, maybe you even listened to this podcast
Yes.
before you ever became a client.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
like you are actually like it's always interesting when you are an example of this marketing strategy working,
Yes.
right? Of like the platform strategy, if you can call it that, worked on you before you ever, you started using it to attract, listings and
Right.
buyers. Because obviously at the core of the idea is you want to put interesting content out there, valuable, interesting stuff out there,
Yes.
and then people will follow you and they want to work with people that are putting out interesting uh content. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I
It
didn't
was,
I didn't know that. Like I
yeah.
didn't I didn't know that you followed us that long before you
I
actually signed up. That's
did. I
cool.
did. And actually, I think it was a post by Kara who I can't even remember really what post it
Okay.
was. I think it was a money post or something. But anyways, and then I just kind of once I started following her and then yeah, it works. So I was like, I am going to reach back out again. I was a little nervous because I had already had a call. But like I said, I felt ready and yeah, I'm so happy I did that.
Where was your business at the year before you signed up for so last year, right? Like what was your sales
In
volume?
2025, I was right over 9 million in sales.
Okay.
So it was my biggest year. So it was my third year in real estate. But I also lost my dad in June of 2025. So that kind of obviously shifted things in my business. I had
Yeah.
seven
Yep.
closings the month my dad passed, which was really hard, but I kept going, still gave myself some grace, gave myself some time to focus on family and get through that grieving stage. He was really into my real estate business. So he was like one of my biggest supporters, besides my mom and my husband. But yeah, so, after that happened, I um, quickly pivoted and was like, okay, I'm going to do this for him because I know he would not want me sitting here and just giving up what I've worked so hard for. And it's just been one blessing after another, especially entering into the platform family. So, yeah, that was my year last year, which I'm still very proud of.
Yeah.
Over 9
Yeah.
million.
Well, like I said, if you get to 9 million, most realtors never get
Yeah,
there,
21
right? Like the
transactions.
yeah, like the vast majority of real estate agents in the United States of America will not ever sell 9 million. I think sometimes we take it for granted because
Yes.
obviously it's like a self selection type process where if you're in the platform, or frankly if you're the type of agent who's even listening to this podcast, even if you haven't formally joined the platform marketing
Yeah.
program, you're just by definition more of an ambitious agent. So you hear a number like, oh, I sold 8 million or 9 million, you're like, oh, it's not even all that impressive, because other people that are maybe selling 15 or 20 or
Right.
30 million or whatever, right? And you don't realize, yeah, no, the vast majority of agents out there are seriously selling 3, 4, 5 million a year. They would kill to be at 9 million, right? So, okay.
Yeah.
So we've kind of laid the groundwork. You were at 9 million before platform. And in the context of this conversation, before platform is like 90 days ago
I know.
because you joined like 2 week or 2 months basically before we are recording this podcast. You've only been a client at this point for effectively eight weeks,
Yes.
right? So you had been following us for a while. Share with me some of the wins you've experienced just in your first couple months running the platform marketing program and the social media ads, that we're handling for you.
Yeah, so lots of wins just within, like you said, the 2 months that I've been with Platform. But I think it really helps to have such an organized team and family and support, right? We have our private group, and that really helps. So I would say my main wins are obviously meeting a lot of incredible agents. I've already had a couple referrals, which is insane through Platform. Definitely wasn't expecting that. It wasn't even really a thought. And
So okay, so you've had agents in the platform send you referrals already.
yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that actually is a very underrated part of the platform is that everyone trusts each other, right?
Yes.
Because if someone's in the platform group, again, you can kind of just assume they're a serious agent. Like they're not dabbling, they're not part-time, like they're probably very serious about their career. So you can feel good about
Yeah.
you know, sending them referrals and it sounds like you've already picked up a couple referrals
Yes.
and that's probably honestly paid for platform
Yeah,
for you,
because we are going to
already.
see houses tomorrow, and that's one of them. So I think just building that
Cool.
relationship is a
Cool.
huge win. I'm such a relationship person. So for me, I would count that as one of my biggest wins. And then another huge win is um, I have been trying to do the homework, right? I have an amazing platform manager, Bailey, and she keeps me and holds me accountable. And when you are held accountable like that, you do start seeing these wins come up a lot more frequently. So I have recently been contacted by several builders in the past 2 weeks. And I have lived in this neighborhood specifically for 13 years, and this has never happened. Yeah,
Okay.
so I
Okay.
owe it to Platform because other than my other marketing that I've always done, this is new. This is something that I
Yep.
owe that success to Platform because of that. And it's just so crazy and wild. And to be reached out and not have to reach out to them is a huge win in my book. And it's a start of something beautiful. They literally said, I see you all over. So yeah, I'm tracking that as a Platform win there. And then my final win.
Awesome. And do those builders, are they wanting you to list some of their houses or where did those conversations
Yeah,
go?
so in our community, we have a lot of pre-existing homes. We started in 1960s, this neighborhood, and now we have a lot of new construction. So we have a lot of land. We have 1 acre all the way up to 10-acre parcel lots. So
Really?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
it's a really cool hidden gem in East Orlando. And so we're getting a lot of these new construction builders that are entering this neighborhood because they see the growth. We're very centrally located. So yes, I will be listing new construction homes. Actually, one just went live last week. My biggest listing ever. It is listed at $1,110,000. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. And again, like you hadn't had any phone calls like that or any builder relationships really, even though you said you've lived there for 13
Yes,
years.
my husband's lived in Wedgefield for since he was 10. And then naturally when I met him 15 years ago, we bought some land and we were like, this is where we're going to build our family because we love the community. So yes, I know a lot of people here. I have a lot of connections, but I've never
Yeah.
been reached out to since starting my real estate journey 4 years ago until.
So okay, yeah. So you've lived there for 13 years. You've
Mhm.
been a realtor for 4 years, and what I'm hearing you say is like, hey, I signed up for platform 2 months
Yeah.
ago. It's not a
Yeah.
coincidence that within two months of starting this social media marketing, that platform does that. That's when the builders in your area start reaching out to you because they're like, hey, we see you all
Yeah.
over social media, and you've already picked up listings,
Yes.
in your I mean, in your case, even like $1 million listing
Yeah.
in your first 2 months with the platform marketing
It's
program.
it's it's like a pinch me moment. It's pinch me.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
So
That's so
yeah.
cool. Over your career, what is the ratio of buyers to sellers looked like for
Yeah,
you?
that's a good question. I'm actually very listing heavy. It's just something that has always just kind of happened naturally. I haven't been very buyer heavy. So I would say it's about 60, maybe, yeah, 60/40.
Okay.
So I'm definitely, that's where I like to be. I love my buyers, of course, and I love working with my buyers in the neighborhood. But yeah, I'm definitely more listing heavy.
And so you've already had a builder reach out to you. Have there been any more wins of anyone like mentioning they see your ads or anything like that?
I think I definitely have to do a few more posts that I'm supposed to be doing, but I've been so busy. So I think that's gonna come. And it's funny because I've listened to these podcasts. I will say
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
listened to almost all of them. I'm a podcast
Really?
gal.
Okay.
So I'm always like, oh, that's gonna be so cool. But to be honest, I don't go to the grocery a lot. I do Instacart, and I'm told my account manager, I was like, I'm gonna have to start going to the grocery store. So yeah, I think it's coming.
Well, I have to kind of like catch myself when I'm having this conversation because a lot of the questions I normally ask, I'm forgetting. You've been a client for like
Yeah.
2 months, right? You haven't been a client for like 2 years. So you haven't even really had a chance for a lot of those like retargeting ads to like kick in. So obviously you've only been doing this for a couple months here.
Yes.
What are some of the ads that you've done so
Yeah,
far?
so since I am listing heavy, I've always done listing videos for every single listing of mine. And so I love doing those still. I am pretty comfortable in front of the camera with doing those. And I've also loved the spotlight, business spotlight. I think that is
Okay.
really cool. I did my first one, which I'm going to do a second one for a small new bakery in our community. And
Okay.
since we don't have a lot of like actual like they're more small town businesses in this area. I really want to focus on that to grow the community. And so when I reached out to her to tell her that I was going to be, featuring her, she was just so thankful. And it was just really cool to bless somebody like that and see their business grow. And
Yeah.
now she's literally out of all of her bakery items every Saturday.
Like because you
I
featured her
mean, I
on.
got a lot of engagement on it.
Yeah.
And she's amazing, of course, in her own
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that
So like you can actually kind of like, not that you're trying to take all the credit,
right.
right? But you can actually you can connect the dots a little bit between, hey, I'm using my social media reach with this platform marketing program to highlight other
Right.
businesses. In this case, it was like a bakery, and their business is now blowing up
Yes.
because of kind of the exposure that I'm getting them. That's a cool
I
feeling.
can't wait to do it again with another business. And I think mine will be a little different because, we don't have the actual standalone buildings, but we have the landscapers and the screening crews and just a whole community of small business owners that I really want to highlight that I work with and can trust.
Right.
So I can't wait to spread that love.
Yeah, the best ads are always the one where you're actually just like telling a story
Yes.
about someone you actually work with. So it's a story about, with the bakery, it's like, hey, here's where I love their cinnamon rolls,
Yes.
or I love their, cookies or donuts, whatever it is, right? And you're just talking about, I love going there. And then just naturally, kind of the hero of the story is this local small business. And that way it doesn't feel like an ad, because
Yeah.
if you start a video or start a post, hi, I'd like to do a small business spotlight. Well, then it's kind of like that. I mean, I guess it's still cool. It's better than not doing it, but it doesn't feel as natural,
Yeah.
of if you just like tell a story about, hey, here's a cool local business that I personally work with. Again, it makes it not feel like an ad. It's one of my favorite parts of the platform
Yeah.
strategy is, you know, how our quote unquote
Mhm.
advertising um just feels so natural. It doesn't look or feel like an ad. If you're scrolling your news feed and you see, Britney at this local bakery,
Right.
right? It's like it doesn't immediately be like, oh man, that realtor is so annoying. They keep advertising,
Yeah.
right? It's like, no, it's like it kind of comes across as just like this is a local person living here who loves this bakery, and then they click on the ad, and then they'll be on your retargeting list because they clicked on the ad, and now they'll start to, over time, they'll start remembering, oh, that's right, Brittany, she's that realtor,
Yes.
right? And it's time and time again, over time, it builds that connection,
Yeah.
right? So again, like I know you've only been in the program for like 2 months, but you're already seeing kind of like the impact that it makes when you're active in your community and you inject that into your social media.
Exactly, and that's really my goal because I am not a salesy person. I know I'm in sales, but I'm more like the girl next door type, like very low key. And then also like I love helping other businesses. So that was huge. And I think platform has really helped me think outside of the box and set myself apart from the other agents in this area because that's huge when you're such a small community. Um, I want to be different.
Yeah, there's a lot of agents too, because I think it's kind of just human nature where part of the reason, whether or not they've ever
Yeah.
verbalized this, is they're not doing more advertising or they're not more active on social media because they don't like talking about
Yeah.
themselves. They're like, hey, I'm just not the type of person that wants to go on social media and brag about myself and talk about myself all the time. That's, it's kind of just like uncomfortable
Yeah.
for them. And the platform strategy is this kind of genius workaround where it's like, hey, I get it. That comes naturally to some people being a self promoter, and other people it makes them really awkward. They're like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to do that at all. So the platform strategy allows you to put out a lot of content in your
Right.
community, on social media, but a lot of it is you're not talking about yourself. So you don't have to like psych yourself up, or you don't have to do anything that makes you uncomfortable because you're actually highlighting other businesses and other things going on in the community. We have clients sometimes where, hey, maybe it's not a business. Maybe on some week they highlight, their
Yep.
church or a charity or their kid's school that's doing something, interesting, or has a fundraiser coming up, or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um so it's like anytime you're not talking about yourself, it just is it comes across more
Yeah.
natural, but more importantly, it doesn't look or feel like advertising, which makes it the ultimate
That's
advertising.
why I feel like we're so aligned because that's me. So
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, I think like so many people, like when we explain this philosophy to them, they like get it. They're like, "Oh, that makes perfect sense. I just never realized there was an actual advertising agency out there that would put like paid money, like an actual paid
right.
marketing budget behind that strategy." Because typically when you say, hey, I want to be involved in my community, I want to, give shout outs, or I want to create content, you're almost implying that like, oh, well, I'm not going to put ads behind it. It's all going to be, it's all like
Yeah.
organic. Right. And I think where platform is kind of filling a void in the industry, and we're kind of doing things in a way that no other marketing company does, is we have that kind of content marketing philosophy of and being involved in your community,
Hmm.
but we're applying it to paid Facebook
Yes.
ads, right? We're not just posting stuff on your personal profile, crossing your fingers and hoping people see it, right?
Yes. And I feel like when you're not used to social media, I've always been in social media, but again, I you're supposed to sell yourself as an agent, right? You're trying
Yep.
to,
Yep.
but you don't want to come off that way like you mentioned, so you want to come off genuine and natural. So that's been a huge win with platform, and I just, yeah, I'm so thankful.
Yeah. You mentioned, one thing that attracted you to platform was you saw Kara Newton, now Kara Farah,
Hmm.
mention us. And like Kara has this like extremely outgoing, extroverted personality. She's willing to put herself out there. She posts on, Facebook on her stories and, I mean, she's putting out tons of content. Sometimes she posts 20 times a
Yeah.
day, right, on her stories. And that's how she's built her business. Actually, Kara's quite introverted.
Okay.
If you, yeah, like if you get to know her, she's not like the life of the party at a big conference where she's going to be staying out till 11 p.m. Like she's actually very introverted. She's just willing to post a lot on Facebook because she knows that brings in business, right? Like
Yeah.
Kara has identified, hey, the more I post, the more I'm top of mind and the more money I'm going to make as, a realtor. And she's very confident in that. And that confidence has turned into a big asset for her because it's helped her build, build her brand.
Yes.
But not everyone has the personality or the confidence of a Cara
Yeah.
Farah, not everyone
She's a
is going to
unicorn.
do that. Yeah, I mean, like you can copy her. All of her posts are public, right? Like she's kind of giving her game plan and recipe out to everyone. But the truth is, the vast majority of people are frankly just not willing to do what Kara does to bring in all the business that she brings in, and that's where I think platform can kind of fill that gap
Yeah.
for a lot of people of like, hey, I'm not that active on social media personally. Like I'm not posting 20 times a day. I might not even post 20 times a
Yeah.
year, right? There's some people we have as clients, and if you look at their personal profile, they're barely posting
Yeah.
ever. Like they basically almost don't even use social media in their personal life. And so platform is really important to them because that's what's keeping them top of mind
Yes.
with their database and with their sphere because they're not really doing a ton on their personal profile. Now, I will say you should be doing both, right? You should
I'm
be
getting better.
posting. Yeah, like you should be posting a personal profile. Like platform shouldn't be a total like substitute
Yeah.
for that, right? But it sure is a good insurance policy. Like if you ever get busy, right, and it's like, hey, I haven't posted a lot in the last week or whatever, it kind of gives you the peace of
Yeah.
mind. And even Kara has mentioned this, like, hey, it's kind of nice knowing that if I go on a vacation, if I go on a cruise or I'm, out of town visiting friends, family, or whatever, that I don't feel like I still have to be posting 10 times a day when I'm on vacation because I know that my platform retargeting ads are running 24
That's
7
true.
around the clock and it's keeping me top of mind with all these people. So I don't like literally 24/7, 365. I don't have to be posting
Yeah.
constantly,
Exactly. I
right?
have people that are like, "How do you have the time to do all that?" I'm like, "It's not it's not me, but it's me."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So you've already, it sounds like then again, just in your first
yeah.
2 months, you've already had people ask you, how are you doing it? I'm seeing your social
Yeah,
media.
no, and I know I said nobody has said anything, but I guess when you start to think about the little comments like that, yes. And it is
Yeah.
hard to put yourself
Yeah.
out there because of judgment. But now,
Yep.
honestly, like watching Kara and Brandy Long, those are the
Yeah. Yep.
two that have really stuck out to me. And they're just so inspiring of just putting yourself out there and not worrying about the noise. I think that's huge with platform. But also, like I mentioned, I have an incredible account manager, Bailey, who makes me feel
Yeah.
comfortable. So whatever platform's doing, it's just like full circle working. It's just awesome experience so far.
Yeah. And, you mentioned Brandy, Kara, like the people in the
Yeah.
platform group are as important as our team is, or even the marketing
Yes.
itself, because I think that sense of community that you can tap into and learn from. There's like, I know every organization says this, so it's totally cliche, but like there is a culture, right,
Yes.
within the platform. Even the phrase we use, platfam, for platform family, it's not like, hey, if you sign up for Ylopo or Curator or Zillow, or I mean, obviously all these other marketing programs out there, most of them have Facebook groups or some sort of group, but like usually what they are is like tech
Yeah.
support. Like, hey, hey, we have a Facebook group where you can like bitch and
Yep.
complain if something goes wrong on your website or there's a problem with your CRM. It's more of like a tech support channel. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the Platfam Facebook group is like a legitimate
It's awesome.
community. Like people get to know each other and become friends. Like we have a lot of clients that have, like, prior to joining platform, they did not know each
Yeah.
other, but because of the Facebook group and because of the mastermind we host every year where people meet and hang out, like, together in person, they've made friends and now their families like take vacations
That's
together.
awesome.
And their kids have gotten to know each other and they look forward to platform events where they get to hang out with, other clients' families. Like it truly has become a community, and we are very acutely aware of that. Like, okay, we're kind of like more than a marketing agency
Yeah,
at
I was
this
gonna
point.
say.
I'm not even sure how I would define it. Like, we still are a marketing agency. Like, that's what we
Family.
are. But yeah, like if I were to describe the business to someone and what is it that you really do? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not just, hey, we launch social media campaigns. It's kind of evolved into something more than that. And I think that's what makes it different again from other marketing programs out there is like I mean, you mentioned on this, on this podcast episode, like, hey, I was following Kara or I
Right.
love seeing you know, Brandy's stuff. And those are two members of our
Right.
community, right? And it when you have kind of like role models to look up to encourage you and inspire you, like
Yeah.
that makes a
It
difference.
does. It really does because it gets you out of your comfort zone because you're like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. So yeah, I think it's awesome that Facebook group. I'm in there all the time, which I'm normally not. But I think it's just yeah, it's so inspiring. It's epic.
Yeah, and now, there's going to be someone listening to this podcast episode right now who is inspired by you
Oh,
because they will hear, oh, wow, she signed up and in her first couple months, she's already getting these results. Maybe I need to be the next Britney Hastings and I'm the one who's been quietly stalking platform for a year or whatever. Maybe I need to take the plunge and sign up because, you were watching us from the outside looking in for over a year and then you finally signed up and like look at all what's happened in just the last 60
yeah.
days since you got
It
going.
it like
How long? Okay, how long did you think it was going to take to start working?
just from doing my research and listening to some of the other podcasts, I was thinking more of like 6 to 9 months, 6 to 12 months. And usually I've tried everything in the past and tried as in like, okay, I'm curious, I'm gonna research, do it like the maybe the Zillow or whatever.
Yep.
So I usually am like, okay, that's probably not gonna work. I'm gonna do it and try it. But with platform, I never got like that feeling. I had a good feeling because the podcast, honestly, I encourage everybody to go listen to all of them. Amazing stories. I think that's a huge part of it. But yeah, I was thinking it was not going to happen within 2 months, to be honest.
I
Yeah,
I didn't think it was going to happen in two
yeah,
months. I asked you because what we
yeah.
always tell people is you need to have the mentality that if you're signing up for this and you don't really have a local brand, I mean, like it's going to take 6 to 12 months, and in that range, probably closer to 12 months than
Right,
six. Right? It's going to take 6 to 12 months to really see this take off in a meaningful way, to where you like know that it's working,
right,
right? You'll have leading indicators and some signs early on, like, hey, wow, my ads are getting a lot of engagement, or, you have some of that
right.
going on. But I think most people would say, hey, the success really started becoming noticeable closer to 12 months
Okay.
in, even than six
Yeah.
months. And so it's always fun, though, when we have an exception like you, where it's like, hey, she was kicking butt within 60 days. Look at all these, she got like $1 million
It's not a
listing, right?
coincidence. I haven't done anything different than platform. So I will say that yes, it may take time for others and to just keep being consistent and showing up and holding yourself accountable with your manager. I think
Yep.
that's key, and that's what I've heard from the other platform members. So you can't, like, the success is not going to just come if you're not putting the work in, of course, right? So you still have to put in the work, but it honestly, I mean, it's exceeded my expectations so far. So,
So you mentioned that you did, kind of like a small business
mhm.
spotlight at that bakery. Are there any other like platform retargeting ads that you've done yet? Again, I know you're only like 2 months
Yeah,
in,
so
but
I did a fun one. It was just holding a box. I got a lot of, I think that was one of my first posts. And I took about 1,000 takes because, of course, when you're doing things that you're not used to doing, you're like, oh, I have to show up perfect. And platform has taught me not to do that. I'm definitely listening to that advice, but that was a really fun one. And it was like, how many times have you moved? I got
okay,
a
okay,
lot of
yep.
people, a lot of engagement on that one, which I was like, that is so fun. Cause then you learn to engage with them, right? And that just builds your following and your trust in relationships. And I have a few more that I need to do that I'm going to be doing here soon. I think it's the teacher one.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Okay,
So
cool.
I am a partners in education with our local school. It's a K through 8 school in the community, and I've been supporting them and for the past 3 years now. So I'm very, very, very excited to do that one to really highlight the incredible teachers within our community.
Yeah, it's really, I always say putting the social back in social
Yeah.
media, right? So anytime you can create content that actually gets people to
Hmm.
engage, that's a win because now they're commenting on your
Right.
posts and other people see that other people are commenting on your posts. And so then they are more likely to comment on your
Yes.
posts, right? Because it seems like the popular oh wow, like, I'm going to go comment on Brittany's post. Look at all these other people that have commented even by just asking a simple question like how many times have you moved,
Exactly.
right? Because everyone wants to virtue signal. That's the thing. Like that's what I found about what we'll get. That's kind of my secret recipe that I guess is not a secret anymore because I just shared it on the podcast. Um, that's my secret recipe of when I come up with ads that I know are going to get a lot of engagement. It's a very simple kind of litmus test of does the question I'm
Hmm.
asking in this post, like how many times have you
Right.
moved, right? Or like another question that we'll ask that'll get a lot of engagement is like, what's the highest mortgage rate you've ever had, or what's the lowest mortgage rate you've ever had? Or we'll ask one like, how old were you when you bought your first house? Um, all these questions basically are real estate related, are real estate adjacent, or even how much of a down payment did you put when you bought your first house? Like all, again, all these various questions. What's your biggest regret in buying your last house? If you could go back in time, would you want to get a bigger yard, more bedrooms or
Right.
bathrooms? Would you want a smaller house? Do you wish you had bought something slightly small? All these questions, what they have in common of what's going to get engagement on social media is your question that you're asking giving people an opportunity to virtue signal?
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you ask someone like, hey, how old were you when you bought your first house, all of the people who bought homes when they were, somewhat younger are going to comment because you're giving them an opportunity to
Yeah.
brag,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, I was 20 when I bought my first house, or I was 19, or I was 21, whatever. What you're probably not going to see is a bunch of people that are like, I was 38 when I bought my first house, because that's a little bit older than
Yeah.
average. You know what I mean? But it's always the people that are bragging. So if I do this post probably a couple times a year on like my personal profile, I'll ask the question because it just gets a ton of
Yeah.
engagement, right? Of like, how or what's the highest mortgage rate you've ever had? Or I'll ask the question, what's your current mortgage rate on your
Yeah.
house? And there's these people that'll like, that bought homes in the 1980s, like the early 80s, and they'll be like, oh my god, when I bought my, all these boomers, when I bought my first house, interest rates were
Yeah.
18%, and they want to comment that because it is kind of like, oh wow,
It's an
right? Like that's
unknown.
that's
Yeah.
really, yeah, that's like really high compared to modern mortgage rate. So my post is giving them an opportunity to virtue signal like, oh wow, really, you had an 18% mortgage rate? And on the complete other side of it, what is just it consistently happens every single
Hmm.
time is if I ask that question, like half the comments are going to be people bragging that they don't have a mortgage. They're like, oh, I don't have a mortgage, I paid it off. Because again, my post is giving them an opportunity to make a snarky
Yeah.
comment like that, like, I don't even have a mortgage,
That's
right?
something to brag
And so,
about.
but the point, no, I mean it is. It totally is. But the point is that that social media post is giving them a platform to brag. And so anytime your social media post can give people like an opportunity to virtue signal or brag about something, those are the posts that get the most engagement. Like I might ask a post or ask a question in a post like, how many cups of coffee do you drink in a
Yeah.
day? Because sometimes you have people bragging like, I drank 5 cups a day, and then the other most common comment on that post is, I don't drink any, I've never started, like, because people are just like kind of like holier than
Yeah.
thou, that like, oh, I don't drink any, I'm better than all of you, right? And so that's kind of the recipe, right? Any social media post that asks a
Yeah.
question is going to get a bunch of engagement if the question you're asking gives people an opportunity to virtue signal. Because sometimes I'll ask random questions in my posts on social media and it's just like crickets, like I'll get like
Yeah.
4 comments or whatever, and other ones will get like 140 comments. And then I look at the one that didn't get a bunch of engagement, and like every single time I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. The question, like the question I asked didn't really give people like a chance to brag about anything, so like not a lot of people, not a lot of people commented. So like again, if you ask like what did you major in college, like this is a question I ask, and people, it'll get a lot of comments. What did you major in college, and does that have anything to do with what you're actually doing as a
I like
career?
that one.
That will get like hundreds of comments sometimes. And like again, a huge part of the comments are people saying, I didn't I didn't go to college, or I didn't finish college, but here's what I'm doing and I'm crushing it, because they're basically bragging that I didn't even need college. Look at me. I'm so awesome that I didn't go to college, and yet, I'm successful in whatever. So again, anytime you give people an opportunity to virtue
That's
signal,
when
that's yes, that's the recipe for social media
I like that. I never thought of it that
that gets a
way.
lot of
Yeah,
engagement.
never thought of it that
Yep.
way.
Or like how many different houses have you lived in is
Oh,
another
yeah.
one.
And that's
Because again, like people like bragging.
and to be relatable and to like show off, like you said, they're bragging, they're showing off. They're like, "Hey, look, I've moved 20 times," you know? So, yeah, I do think that platform helps you really just realize a different way to market, right? That's
you know, like I'll have to stop myself from going on a huge rant right now, but like platform is successful because our clients are successful, right? And the reason our clients are successful is because we put the social back in social media. I think people maybe intuitively understood this back in 2010, 2011, 2012, like back when like I would say social media was actually pure social media. Like if you were on Facebook in 2012, 2013, all the connections and all the stuff that was popping up in your newsfeed was like your actual friends that you knew in
yeah.
real life, right? And now it's obviously not like that at all. Like having a Facebook account is more just like reading the newspaper. Like
Yeah.
I don't think people have ever really thought about that explicitly, but Facebook is just where most adults get their current
Yep.
events from. Like most people that are 40 years old, 55 years old, whatever, they're not reading the newspaper anymore the way that our grandparents did,
Yep.
right? I
That's
mean,
so true.
some people do. Like I'm a total nerd, so I have a subscription to the Wall Street Journal, but like the vast majority of people are not subscribing to their local newspaper and reading a print newspaper or the online version,
Right.
right? Like people don't read the newspaper anymore. Where they get their news is Facebook. So over time, I feel like Facebook has kind of evolved into more of like a news outlet. It's just where people get their current events. And as that has happened gradually over the last decade, it's become less and less like it doesn't feel like social media
Yeah.
as much. And so as that continues to happen, this is the point I'm getting at here. As that continues to happen, if you are willing to put the social back in social media and make your posts kind of feel like the way that Facebook felt back in 2012, back in 2013, you are going to be even more successful than you thought you were going to be, because it's so rare now that
That's
someone
so
actually
true.
uses Facebook the way that people used it 10, 15 years
That
ago.
is,
And
yeah.
that's what we're trying to do. That's ultimately what we're trying to do at platform marketing, is just like, hey, what worked to get a bunch of engagement 10 or 15 years ago will work again if you have the courage to do it and put some advertising dollars behind it.
Exactly. I can see that. That's a really good point. So, I feel like when you realize that and you see the power when you do those things, all right, you're more relatable, then that's where the business comes. Because people can trust you
Yeah.
without even meeting you, which is insane.
Yeah, like exactly. You've had all these people call you, reach out to you. It's like they have no idea who you
No.
are, right? Like, but they've been seeing your Facebook posts and they're like, hey, Brittany, like we'd like you to come list this $1 million house. Hey, Brittany, I'm a builder. I want you to represent us because I love your, love your, they have no idea who you are, right? But the social media built that connection and built that relationship,
Absolutely.
you know, and if you look at the way that most realtors are doing their social media, it's not really that hard to stand out, because what most agents are doing is just like all they do is they post when they have an upcoming open
Yeah.
house, and they post a couple gorgeous pictures of the house with like the time and the date and the location, or they use Canva to make a slick
Yep.
graphic about, an upcoming open house or a new listing, or hey, I just closed on this beauty, and they put the information about a closing they had, and that's all they do. It's like, well, again, that's not using social media in a social
Right.
way. That's using social media as like a bulletin board where you just post announcements,
That's
right?
yeah, that's what it felt like for me is I like to be different and I didn't really know what to do to be different because like you said, there's so many platforms too out there where you can just like copy and paste based off of where you live and it's easy and quick, but it had no real value. So this is, like I said, this has added so much of that value to my business and really opened my eyes to going back to social media, like you said, from back in, I think you used to have like a college email
Yes,
address.
yes. Yep, that's how it started.
Yeah.
That's how it started back when it was called the
Yes.
Facebook.
Those were the
Yep.
good old days.
Well, it actually was a social network,
Exactly.
right? It wasn't just a stream of news articles and ads and whatnot. And like, again, I think it's amazing because almost because Facebook has evolved to more so just be the modern
Hmm.
newspaper, right? Tons of agents, and not just realtors, but any type of small
Right.
businesses, they're afraid of Facebook now, or social media in general. I mean, obviously, Meta owns Facebook. They also own Instagram. They own WhatsApp, and there's other channels out there too, whether that's TikTok, whatever. Obviously, YouTube. Um, People, like, I hear it all the time. Even of realtors who sign up for a platform, like they do end up joining the program. They're like, okay, I've seen all these case studies or results. I guess I'm willing to give it a try, but like, I'll be honest, like, I don't really understand how you're having so much success with Facebook because it hasn't worked for me. It's like, I'm not seeing any results from the Facebook stuff I've done in the past. It's like, well, that's because we're doing it very, very differently than what you've probably done in the past, right? And you mentioned people like Brandy Long
Yeah.
and Kara. So Brandy or Kara, if you're listening to this, shout out to both of you. You're both absolute badasses.
They are.
Like, the reason they've had so much success in their business, both before platform and after, right? Because both of those agents were really successful even before they ever signed up for
Yeah.
platform. So I can't take credit for all of Kara's success or Brandy's success because they were ballers before they ever joined the platform program. But why they've grown their businesses, right, even more since they joined the platform program is because we just took what's already
Yeah.
working for them, which is using social media in a social way, right? And we're just pouring gas on the fire in the form of paid ads. It's like, hey, all those posts that you're doing, Brandy and Kara, on your personal profile, let's make posts like that as retargeting ads. So anyone who clicks on your properties or watches more than 10 seconds of one of your listing videos, that's how we set up the retargeting. They have to watch at least 10 seconds of the
Okay.
video, and then they'll be retargeted. So if someone only watches like 4 seconds of one of your videos, they're not going to necessarily be in the retargeting audience because I don't really think that's a real view,
Right.
right? But if they're watching 10 seconds, then yeah, we'll retarget them. So all these people that are engaging, let's just start taking some of this content that feels social and putting it as a retargeting
Yeah.
ad, right? So it even works if you don't have paid ads behind it, again, which is how Brandy and Kara built their
Wow.
businesses. But then when you add in a paid advertising budget to that strategy, that's how it really blows up big time. And in your case, you saw
Yeah.
immediate results and like literally in the first 60 days.
Yeah, and I honestly I've ran a couple of like the boost ads by myself back in a year ago and it just did nothing. I just spent money to see nothing.
Yeah, because it wasn't part of like a cohesive
Right. It was no
strategy. Yeah.
strategy,
Yep.
there's no
Yep.
guidance, it doesn't do anything. Like if you do not have that guidance, support, the knowledge, and I don't have time to sit here and figure all that out. So that's why I was like, you're hired. I can't wait. And it has been so incredible. Really has.
Yeah. We have agents all the time, or I should say clients in the platform program that'll have other agents tell them, hey, like, what are you doing? It seems to be working really well.
Hmm.
And then they try to start copying them. Like they try
Oh
to,
yeah.
because they see, like, for example, like, oh, wow, like your business is blown up and you did a kind of a promo for this bakery. I'm going to go make a social media post about a bakery. And then they try a couple things. They maybe make some listing videos. They do some, but like they're not putting ad spend behind it and they're not setting up the retargeting structure the way it's supposed to be set up. So they'll do all this work and then they'll get like 18 views on a video, or they put
Yeah,
out a post that they put all this thought and work into and it just gets no engagement. And then they get frustrated and they say, oh, it doesn't work. Right.
exactly.
It's like, well, again, there's a whole strategy behind it that you're not seeing. It's like an iceberg, right? Like the bulk of the iceberg is below the surface. You don't see it. You only see like the pointy part that sticks out above the water. That's kind of like the platform
Yes.
strategy,
And
right?
that's why I'm not
So,
worried. I'm like, okay,
um,
if you copy me, that's fine because I know what I have.
yes, exactly. Exactly.
So,
It's what we tell all of our clients, like, fine, let them copy you, let them, because they have no idea what's going on behind the scenes that's actually making all of this work. So they're just going to end up wasting a bunch of time and getting frustrated. So, well, Brittany, I'm super stoked for you. Like, obviously, we'll have to do a part 2 of this podcast at
yeah.
some point in the future, like maybe like a year from
Okay.
now, because I'm really curious to see where your business grows over the next year if you already are having this many like concrete, tangible wins in your first 60 days. So let's do this again next year and see where your business is at a year from now, because obviously you're doing something right.
Yeah, to say I have a pipeline for once of like a solid pipeline, it already is, yeah, it's life changing. So,
Isn't
yeah,
it kind of a cool feeling, like looking forward 2, 3, 4 months and knowing how much money you'll be making in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months because you have, like you said, an actual
yeah,
pipeline? If someone's never experienced that, they just don't know what they're missing out
yeah,
on. You know,
and
like the peace of mind that comes from having that is just
it is
incredible.
incredible and it keeps you going and it just opens your eyes to so many possibilities. And I like I said, I had a really hard year last year, so I would love to meet with you again in a year because I feel like it's just going to be one of those things where I look back and it's like, wow, like pinch me, like thank you, Lord.
Yeah,
Very big in my faith. So but with that, I am truly thankful for what you guys have built.
awesome. Well, will I see you this year at the mastermind? Are you going to the
So
mastermind this year?
I actually told my husband today about it, because we do love to travel. And I have to see because it's on my son's 8th birthday.
Bring them
Okay.
with.
I mean, I
We actually we actually have a lot of clients who bring their kids to the mastermind.
count me
So
in.
it's kind of like it's like a family event. So it's going to be in Boise,
Yeah.
Idaho this year for those listening. So you're in Florida, so obviously like Idaho isn't like
Yeah,
next door to
it's
Florida,
okay.
obviously, but probably 90% of the time, because I live in Florida, like the platform mastermind is in
Yeah.
Florida every year, but this year the resort we've been hosting it at, Naples, Florida, is actually doing a huge renovation.
Okay.
um and so we couldn't host it there this year, so we just picked like, let's do something totally different that's not tropical, it's not a beach, it's
Yeah.
not Florida, let's do something completely different that has like no humidity, actual mountains, so just a totally different vibe and setting. And so we picked Boise because Boise has all that. You can see the mountains right from the city, but it's still a major airport. So like you can fly direct
Okay.
to, Boise from a lot of places in the country. So it's not like, in a Colorado. And by the way, I know I'm going on a rant here, but I've had so many people ask me this, so I figure I better put this out there publicly. It's like they're like, how'd you pick Boise? Like, like why didn't you pick Colorado or whatever? And I'm like, well, because if you've ever been to Denver or Colorado, I wanted to have the mastermind at a place this year where we would have mountains and kind of like low humidity mountain, mountain type of vibe. And like when you land in Denver, you're like an hour away from the
Yeah.
mountains. Like the actual, the airport is like 45 minutes east of Denver, and then you have to drive 45 minutes to Denver, and then another probably hour to get into the mountains. And so Boise, when you get to the city, you can like see the mountains like in this, like Boise's like right there, but it's also still a major airport.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited. We're expecting probably close to 300 this year.
Wow.
Last year I
I
think we
want to
had
meet these rock stars
two
in
two
person. I have to.
no, it is. It's like the best couple days of the year, because all these people that, if you've listened to the platform marketing
Yes.
podcast, all these wins and case studies, like everyone's there. I mean, I don't know what the exact percentage was last year, but typically we've averaged about like 90% of our clients are there
Okay.
every year. So like the people who don't go are literally in like a 10% minority. Like the vast majority of platform clients are all there hanging out in person, and we don't charge for it. So it's not like you have to buy an admission ticket or something like every other conference. It's like, hey, just show up
Okay.
and hang out and meet really, really cool people. And you know what? There's someone listening to this podcast right now that's excited to go to the mastermind because they want to talk to Britney Hastings.
Well, I'll
Like, and I know that sounds weird for
it
you, but
does.
like, seriously, there's going to be people who want to talk to you because they listened to this podcast episode. So that's what makes the mastermind so fun, is it's all these people that you've like
Yeah.
interacted with, like digitally on social media, and then you meeting them in person is just like, you feel like you're already
Yeah,
friends in a
which is so
sense,
cool.
because even us, I've never met
Yeah.
you in person. I don't know who you are. This is the first time we've ever talked, because when you signed up, right, you talked to Diana
Yes.
probably, and then your account manager is Bailey. So you know Bailey a little bit and Diana a little
Yes.
bit, but you and I have never talked until this podcast conversation. And so now if I get to meet you in person at the mastermind, I will sort of feel like I know you because I've now had this conversation with you, right? So that's why it's just fun meeting and getting to hang out with
I love
people
that.
in person. So yeah, hope to see you there.
Yes, I will make it
Guys,
happen.
it's so much fun. You have to. It's so much fun. So, for everyone listening to this, I hope this episode is valuable and encouraging to you, just to kind of show you what's possible, even in the first couple months with platform. It doesn't necessarily have to take 12 months to start working if you take massive action, if you follow the recipe that your account manager gives you. So, hope this episode was encouraging. Brittany, thank you for your
Thank you
time.
so much, Tim. Talk soon.